All right, good morning to our cousins and anyone else that might listen to this.
Johan.
Our friends. Johan, yeah, Edward wants me to send it to Johan. We are starting Exploring Creation with Zoology, Land Animals of the Sixth Day. And we just read the first paragraph and it introduced the safari. And I thought, well, you know what, maybe our cousins would like to listen to this too. So we're going to read to you guys as well. And if it works, great. So just to quick let you know, a safari is a journey across a stretch of land usually made to observe or hunt wild animals like elephants. And we talked about how over the course of next year we're going to go on our own safari as we learn about different animals. And so we're at the second paragraph, and that's where we're going to start. You're going to have a great time learning all about animals across the world, identifying their tracks and investigating what makes them part of God's animal kingdom. You'll discover many animals that have incredible features that they cry out in praise of their maker. You'll keep records of all you learn and do experiments and projects along the way. This will be a safari you'll never forget. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. God made the animals. Are you familiar with the days of creation? Do you know that God made what God made on each day?
Yes.
You do? We've gone over it.
Animals.
He made animals on one of the days. Do you remember what day?
No.
We'll find out. Do you remember that what he made on day 5 of creation?
No.
He made the plants. If you studied Zoology 1 and 2 in this series, you explored all the animals God created on the 5th day. Oops, I was wrong. He made the birds on that day. In this book, you're going to discover all the animals God made on the 6th day. I think the plants must have been the 4th day.
Oh.
Let's find out exactly what the Bible says God created on the 6th day. Genesis 1:24-25 says, "And God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so."
I want you to show them to this.
Okay, but you're interrupting readings, and that's not appropriate. You can show them later. God made the wild animals according to their kind, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Let's read the sentences in bold again. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. It separates the creatures God created on the 3 groups: wild animals, livestock, and creatures that move along the ground. Since that's how the Bible describes the animals God made on the 6th day, that's the order in which we will study them.
What does study mean?
It means to learn about.
And
There's not room right now. You can summon that later, okay, sweetie? Did you notice that God separated the wild animals from the livestock? Here, we're going to show the pictures real quick so they can see them. Do you know what livestock are? Do you know what livestock are?
No.
Livestock are animals that we own, care for, and use for food
I see a guy.
or to help us with our chores. Can you think of an example of livestock? What are we going to go get? What does Mommy get each week? Does she go get the milk?
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you know what animal gives milk?
No.
You don't know what animal gives milk?
No.
Cows. Cows give milk. Cows are a type of livestock.
And they feed them to the baby cows.
Right. I can think of many: horses, donkeys, oxen, sheep, cattle, and pigs. Isn't it interesting to think that God actually created animals to help us? Horses and donkeys help us by...
go back and forth there.
Winnie, listen. Horses and donkeys help us by carrying us or our things from place to place. They can also help us by pulling plows as we plant crops. Oxen are used for that as well, and the sheep give us wool for clothing. Cattle are eaten and milked. Pigs are also eaten. In some countries, camels help people with their work and carry them from place to place. So we'll study camels when we study livestock. Can you think of one thing those animals have in common? Can you think of one thing?
I would have some armor.
No, that they have in common. That's what I don't have to do with the animals. They all have hooves. Animals with hooves are called, ready for the big word?
Mm-hmm.
Ungulates.
Ungulates.
Ungulates. The big word is ungulates.
What does ungulates mean?
It means animals that are animals with hooves. In the livestock section, we'll study every ungulate, even though some of them, like zebras and gazelles, are not really livestock.
So mommy horses have hoods.
Yes, they are part of the livestock. Very good.
And they have coats on them attached to their hoods.
Of course, we'll study animals that aren't livestock. The Bible calls them wild animals and creatures that move along the ground.
What is?
When someone says wild animal, what do you think of?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I do know.
What?
It's about the story about baby cows and like
No, baby cows aren't wild animals. Do you know what a wild animal is, Edward?
a horse.
Nope. Those, we just read that those are livestock. Wild animals are a lot of things. I immediately imagine lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! These animals, of course, are not usually kept for us to eat or to help us work. Most of them don't make good pets either. When my brother was in...
Why do they not make pets?
Because they'll eat you.
Mom, why not they kind of like make riddles?
I think you're being goofy. When my brother was in college, he was given an ocelot. Here's the big word, ocelot.
Ocelot.
As a pet.
As a pet.
This is an ocelot.
Yeah, I
Right
know
there.
ocelot. Can I see the
Right there, where I'm pointing, silly boy.
I want to see it on here.
No, you can see it right on the page.
I'm not going to.
Fine. How cute the ocelot kitten was. It played and scampered about, climbing on the furniture and attacking toy mice, just like any young house cat. As it grew, however, its playful bite became more powerful, and its claws grew longer and sharper. One night, as my brother was sleeping, the ocelot saw his feet hanging off the edge of the bed, twitching. After a few minutes of crouching on the floor, the ocelot leapt up and grabbed my brother's feet with both claws hanging on for dear life. My brother was hurt so badly he had to go to the hospital.
Why?
Although it made him sad, he had to find a new, because the ocelot, if you would look at the picture, you'd see what the ocelot looks like, and he got him with his claws. My brother was hurt so badly he had to go to the hospital. Although it made him sad, he had to find a new home for his ocelot. Most wild animals are not meant to be pets. However, some have been bred to become pets over the years. Can you think of any?
No.
How about dogs and cats?
They.
Since dogs and cats are pets that come from the wild animals, we'll include them in our wild animal section.
But our dog is not a pet because he eats chickens.
He's still a pet, which is a naughty pet. Do you know what I mean when I say that animals come from
But he's
another...
No. But he's just a bad doggy pet because he eats his chickens.
Do you know what I mean when I say that animals come from another animal?
No.
Well, if you look back at the Bible verse we read a little while ago, you will see that God said that all the animals reproduced.
Good.
Reproduced after their own kind. The word kind, this word kind, is very important. You see, there are many different species of animals, but not nearly as many kinds of animals. For example, there is a calico cat and Siamese cats that live in people's homes, and there are also lions and tigers that roam the wilds of Africa. Even though they are very different from one another, creation scientists can show that most likely they will come from a pair of cats that walked off the ark after the worldwide flood.
What does a flood mean?
A flood is when water covers an area, and a worldwide flood, remember Noah's Ark? That's when the whole world was flooded with water. You know, only people that lived were the people on Noah's Ark, his family. In other words, God created each kind of animal, and he created them with the ability to adapt and change over time. So after the two cats walked off the ark and began to reproduce, their young were similar, but not exactly the same as we were. As time went on, the difference between the young and their parents continued to pile up until there were so many different species of cats, from the cute little Siamese to the dangerous lion.
Yeah, I don't like the lions.
Some people argue that the story of the worldwide flood can't be true.
I I don't love lions because I have sharp teeth. They bite me.
Some people argue the story of the worldwide flood can't be true because all the different animals of the world could not fit on the ark. However, Noah took only 2 of each kind of animal onto the ark. He didn't have to take 2 of each of the different species of cat, for example. He just had to take 2 from the cat kind, and they would eventually be the great grandparents of all the different species of cats we see today. So Noah just had to take 2 of each kind of creature, and there was plenty of room on the ark for them. You'll learn more about this as you work through this course.
What?
She dropped the comb. When the Bible mentions creatures that creep, it most likely is talking about reptiles, such as snakes and lizards.
Can I see this? Oh.
Amphibians such as frogs and
snake?
salamanders. That is a type of lizard called an anole. Such as frogs and salamanders and arthropods, such as spiders and scorpions, are all worm-like creatures that move along and around the ground, under the ground. As I mentioned, you'll study the wild animals first, livestock second, and then all the creeping creatures third. Since dinosaurs were probably reptiles, we'll place them into the creeping section, though most of them did not creep. Many tromped slowly along or scurried about on 2 legs. Since you have most likely studied zoology and zoology 1 and zoology 2, which we didn't, but that's okay. We'll do that later. You already know a lot about animals. You know about animal classifications, nocturnal and diurnal animals, herbivores, carnivores, habitats, endangered species, arthropods, annelids, parasites, and many other things. We'll have to look those words up later on today. So I won't repeat the information you already know, except to occasionally remind you of the things you may have forgotten. At the end of this lesson, you'll do a fun activity